Hello, welcome to the Hindus live coverage of the Bihar's 2025 Assembly election results. So, this is Vignesh Radhakrishnan and Srinivasan Ramani joins me in analyzing these elections using maps, charts, facts, and figures. But before we get into all these things, Srini, I think the results are pretty apparent. Yes, some votes are getting counted here and there, but it's a complete saffron surge, isn't it?
It's a landslide win for
Yes.
the National Democratic Alliance
Right.
and a huge defeat for the Mahagathbandhan.
Right. And you can see actually the saffron surge in the alliance-wise, seats won or led in 2025, and you can completely see that the the BJP and the JDU combined, and the other parties
Across regions.
Yes.
They have dominated
Yes.
across regions in Tirhut, Mithilanchal,
Right.
in Magad, in
Right.
Bhojpur.
Even in Bhojpur and even in Seemanchal, I mean, yes.
Except in Seemanchal, where
Yeah.
you see a pocket of support to the AMI, not
yes.
even to the MGB.
Right.
We will explain how this was a spoiler
Right.
and it hurt the MGB.
Right.
But except that part, almost the entire state has gone to the NDA.
Yeah.
In parts of Bhojpur, of course, still remain with the Mahagathbandhan.
When you compare this with, I think, 2024 assembly segments, I think you can clearly see some differences. Like if you come down, Bhojpur was dominated by the MGB, combined last time, and even in Seemanchal they had a pretty good footing, but then AMM won two segments, but they didn't manage to win an MP seat.
Actually, we have to first explain
Right.
why we are comparing with 2024.
Right.
Because in 2020, the Lok Janshakti Party was not part of the India Alliance per se.
Right.
They contested against the JDU.
Right.
And while they did not put up candidates against the BJP.
In fact, they actually played spoiler for the JDU and
they played the spoiler
right.
for the JDU,
Right.
And that resulted in a much closer contest.
Right.
But the alliances were consolidated by 2024, and the same alliance that we saw in 2024 is now being
playing out here also. Yes.
Also. There's an entry of a third party, the Jansuraj party,
Right.
and of course, smaller parties like the IIP has joined the MG, Mahagathbandhan. But essentially, this mandate is almost very reflective of what happened in 2024 also.
Yeah.
Except, as you said, in Bhojpur,
right.
As the Mahagathbandhan did very well.
In 2024, you mean?
In 2024,
Right.
Rashtriya Janata Dal, its alliance partners such as the Communist Party of India, Marxist Leninist Liberation, CPM Liberation, and also the Congress to some extent. They did very well in the Bhojpura region, but even those victories have also been breached by the BJP and the
JDU,
and the LJP, and now they have almost a complete domination of the entire state.
That's what we are seeing. So let's go to I think the first analysis which we want to say. So this is just party-wise votes secured. This is not contested votes, but the actual votes secured. What is your reading of this table?
So look at this. The NDA's overall vote share comes to 47%.
Right.
Almost the same as the Lok Sabha election.
2024. Yes. Yeah.
This is why we said this is almost
similar to the 2024 election.
Exactly. The mandate has been repeated, right? And that's why we are comparing it with
2024 as well.
Exactly. Right. Now, the NDA's vote share was 36%. We did not include the Vikashsheel Inside Party that came to the MGB. That's why they got 36% only in 2020. But it got 47% because of the consolidation of the alliance. And that has persisted. The consolidation of the alliance that has persisted in 2025.
2020 as well, yes.
Right?
Yes.
The Mahagathbandhan, it has not technically lost a lot of vote share.
Right.
It got 39% including the VIP in 2020.
2020, yes.
Right? And by retaining this alliance, they went up to 40%.
Right. In 2024.
And they dropped by around 2.5 percentage points to 27.5. Now, what we thought was that the Jansuraj party will hurt either both alliances equally or it will hurt the NDA more.
Right. Yeah.
That was the expectation. It won 3.4% of the vote, but because the NDA retained most of his vote share, it seems to have hurt the
NGB, but more, right? Even AMM has increased the vote share a little bit, and that has, and we know that in Seemanchal NGB was fairly decent, and now because it is also increasing, and Jansuraj is also increased, and you can see that most of the votes have come from the MGB, not from the DN, and the main reason for it not RJD, is it?
Yes, RJD has retained his vote share.
Right.
RJD got 23% in the 2020 elections.
Right.
It dropped marginally to 22.6,
and
then that it has retained his vote share.
Right.
Congress has lost a bit of his vote share. It had around 9.5. It has got 1 percentage point, and it has lost votes here. The left CPI-ML has almost retained his vote share.
Right.
But we'll explain it later because of the JSP spoiler effect, because of the AMM spoiler effect.
Right.
The MGB also lost seats.
Yes.
Dramatically.
Yes. Actually, if you because it is an alliance and it is a we can't see the voter alone. If we see the contested voter, I think the thing becomes much clearer, right? So contested voter is in the seats.
Let's explain what is contested
Yes.
voter.
Yes.
So overall vote share is you look at the total number of votes gained by a party in the entire state and divided by the all the votes in that are there.
Right.
Contested vote share is you consider only those seats that a party is contesting.
Right.
Let's say BJP is contesting in 120 seats. In those 120 seats,
What is its vote share?
What is vote share?
Because this will give a clear picture. Because in an alliance, in a state where alliance matters, we can't go only by the vote shares, right? And what is it showing here is
So, Vignesh, as you have rightly pointed out, the performance of the NDA almost mirrors that of the 2024 elections.
Right.
Look at this.
Yeah.
The BJP has almost got
Almost retained the same.
Same vote share.
Yes.
The JDU is also almost retained
the same.
Now, interestingly, you should not just read these numbers in abstract.
Right.
What does this say? It says that the BJP, whose core strengths are in the upper caste,
Right.
the Brahmins, Rajputs, Khayats, and Thakurs. In that section, it has consolidated its vote share, and it has retained that vote share that it received in 2020. In 2024 and in 2025.
Right.
So if the RJD thought that by keeping the pitch on jobs, it could with the support of people among the upper caste who also being affected by this, that
has not happened this time. Yeah.
And more so in the JDU as well.
Right.
JDU receives its support from OBCs such as the Kurbis and Queries and EBCs, extremely backward classes, and the Mahadalits as well.
And women?
We'll get to that.
Yes.
We'll get to that. Women as well. Now, the JDU's contested vote share was only 33%. Why?
In 2020.
In 2020. Because the LJP.
Right. They heard them. Yes.
LJP contested only in seats where the AJDG was.
It was a strategic thing that they did. Yes.
This time they have transferred votes to the JDU.
Right.
And which happened in the Lok Sabha elections also.
So LJP joining the alliance has really helped.
Definitely helped the JDU.
Right.
And of course, LJP did not do as well as it did in the 2019
election. But still it was enough.
It was enough. In terms of contested vote share, Congress. Can you explain?
Congress, I think there is a drastic fall from 2024 from 41% to 33.5%. And even CPIML, if you see contested vote share, there is a drop.
Yes.
And VAP, of course, there is a drop. RJD has managed to retain almost the same. I mean, a little bit drop, but almost the same. So it is actually, again, we are coming back to the same logic that Congress is a weaker partner logic, yes.
Will structurally speaking, this alliance, the NDA, it has numerically it has a bigger strength in terms of the castes and communities that it caters to than the MGB.
Right.
So that has clearly helped it retain support. The RJD, while it has maintained its vote share, the RJD has a very high floor. The floor is almost 39%. It's quite good. But its ceiling is limited because it's depending only on Yadav and Muslim support. And Muslim support, we'll explain later, has also been fragmented. Because it depends only on these two communities, it has not been able to reach out to the EBCs in particular. It did feel the Vikasil Insan Party and other parties, but they are fledgling parties who have not really made a mark. And EBCs and Dalits are not going to vote for a party only for promises. They're going to vote for a party based on its record. The JDU's record in terms of specific targeted welfare schemes for women in particular, and also targeting the EBCs and Dalits as in opposition to the others who are seen as an hegemonic force, has ensured that those two segments are consolidated behind the JDU. And despite the VIP and IIP being part of the MJB, the EBC vote has not shifted. Except for some communities, the Malla community, to some extent they've got their votes and so on. So that's the story that we are getting from this election.
But Srini, did you see that it has surged? I mean, the NDA has surged beyond 200 seats. I mean, and we have been discussing from morning. There is a very important reason behind it. And you said that we can explain this using something called effective number of parties. First, let's tell the readers, I mean, the listeners, what effective number of parties mean.
See, this is a very commonly used term in political science, where we measure in each constituency how many effective number of contestants are there. So let's say you and I are contesting, there are three of us contesting elections, and you are getting, let's say there are 10 10 votes, I am getting 4, you're getting 4, or I am getting 5, you're getting 4, and the third person is just getting 1.
Right.
That person is not effectively a contestant.
Effectively, he's not contesting. We both are contesting effectively.
Yeah.
So, which means if this effective number of parties is just 1, which means there's only one party which is effectively contested. 2 means it's a bipolar, and 3 means it's a triangular contest. 4 means it is just fragmented, and 4 and 5 means fragmented. So, this is what we are seeing in Bihar's elections over the years. Starting from 2005, including the Lok Sabha polls.
Yes, so 2000 was when Bihar got bifurcated.
Right.
So the Bihar after bifurcation.
So there are two elections. That's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, in 2005 there were 2 elections. If you notice, Bihar generally had a highly fragmented polity.
Which means like 4, we know about 4 means that effectively there are 4 parties. 4.5
parties in every seat.
In every seat there are 4.5 parties effectively participating. So it's a fragmented
vote.
Oh, yeah.
That started slowly decreasing over time. And by the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, it got reduced to 2.5.
Right.
The LJP contesting separately increased it
in 2020
as an aberration to 3.3
because of LJP, and they were hurting the JDU, and that is what and they became an effective party as well in many seats.
And
that's why
again it fell down to 2.4.
Right. And LJP joined back.
Right. Now the Jan Swaraj party's entry has increased
it a bit to 2.6. Yeah, right.
So in India's first past the post system,
right,
if one alliance has at least 6 or 7 percentage point lead over the second alliance,
right,
and by alliances you are effectively restricting the contest to 2 parties only.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So if you and I are in alliance, I won't contest in places where you are.
Correct.
And so on. Right. So by reducing the effective number of parties, what's happening is the election becomes bipolar overall at the state sense, and therefore even a marginal vote shift, like 2 or 3% to you, will give you huge number of seats.
Yeah, that's what has happened.
That is what has happened, which is the reason why the NDA has got more than 200 votes.
Yeah,
it is expected.
Though there is not an enormous increase in vote share, and that's why, because that the multi-party system has now become mostly bipolar, and it's all been reducing for a long time now. And LJP are also joining back, which means that it has come down even further. Which means even a little bit of vote share shift here and there will cause a huge increase in the
bonus. Again, MG is also hurt.
Right.
One is vote consolidation in favor of NDA, and also the vote fragmentation for the MGB.
Right.
In terms of the Muslim vote, in terms of how the AMM has split it, and in the anti-incumbency vote, which is the JSP has split some of the anti-incumbency.
Which is what I think we'll be discussing next. Let's go down and then let's see how much of an impact does the AMM and JSP had. And what you're seeing here, Srini, is very simple. So all the seats that AMM contested and all the seats in JSP contested, what is their vote share in different seats? So for example, AMM in 9 of the seats that they contested, they had a vote share of over 15%, which is it makes them an effective party in so many seats. And of that, they won about win or leading in 6 seats. We don't know the final figures yet. Jan Swaraj is not leading or winning in any of the seats, but still they have managed to get about more than 50% in 3 seats and about 10 to 15% in 6 seats, which means they also become an effective player. And these 2 seats are actually not mutually the same. This is in a different segment, that is a different segment, which clearly shows the impact that these 2 parties have had in the
Exactly. And the AIM winning 6 seats is huge.
Right.
So the AIM is a party that has focused its energies on one particular area.
Yes, Himachal. Right.
Northeast area.
Right.
Which has a high Muslim population.
Right.
And it has its own dynamics. People generally think the Muslim vote is monolithic. It's not true. There are different diversities in terms of language, in terms of sect culture, and so on. And based on that, the vote has been divided between the MGB and the AMIM. And even though the AMM was weakened after the 2020 elections, out of his 5 MPs, 4 MLAs went to RJD.
Yes. And despite that, only Akhtarul Imam, but everybody else got into, and still that area they are still stronger. Last time in 2020, this was a major factor because it was very close, 125 to 121 seats, and so this became a major factor. But this time, because of this huge sweep, yes, this has happened, but then this is not major factor in deciding.
And these 6 seats. By winning these 6 seats and also getting more vote share, more than between 5 to 15, they more than 5%. They got
vote share,
17 seats.
17 seats, yes.
17 seats.
That is a decent amount of number. Yes.
17 seats. clearly the MGB would have been,
because the margin in many seats it would be 5% to 10%, and they have function. And even if you see the JSP,
yes,
more than 5 to 10, 5 to 10% is 32 seats.
yes.
So they are not a very seriously. I mean, they are not won or leading right now as of now anywhere. Even here, this 6 is just a lead or win.
Yes.
But still, I mean, yes,
They're a spoiler.
yes, they are a spoiler.
They break the
In the 2025, they cannot be considered a spoiler, but then in 2020.
Yeah.
Right, so clearly they have had a, they're a spoiler, but in this particular election, the context, I mean, it's a complete sweep, so they cannot be treated as spoiler. Last election, yes, this was a major factor. Let's move on to the seats with higher Muslim presence, which is something we discussed even in the 2025 map. Clearly, the Seemanchal area, AMAM, there were some 6 seats they were leading, and that's what it is showing. So, if you can see, Shini, in the seats with higher Muslim presence, we actually used the SIR data to come to this calculation. This actually shows the seats where more than 40% of the population are Muslims, right? And as you can see, this column shows the number of seats in which RJD contested and Congress contested and left contested, and this column shows in which they won, and the strike rate, which is nothing but
if you notice the
yes.
sectarian AAM, also
Yes.
called sectarian AAM, they have won strike rate of 67%. They won 6 out of the 90. While the RJD, which has
fielded in 5 seats and they didn't manage to win even one.
The Congress has just won
1 and 3. Yes.
Yes. That's
and
it.
left has not been able to.
Which had made a mark last time in
Right.
Balrampur.
Mm-hmm.
It has now.
It's also interesting that BJP has managed to win one of the seats where there is high Muslim presence, like more than 40%, which is like Ranpur.
Yes, Ranpur.
Yes.
And there the AMM had split the vote
Right.
to such
Yes.
extent that in the MGB and divided the anti-NDA votes,
Right.
and the NDA came.
So yes, they are leading in seats, but they are also split a lot of votes in the other high Muslim presence areas. In fact, when it comes to 25 to 40% of Muslim presence seats, as you can see, there is no wins for the RJD, INC. I mean, there's one win for RJD, and they have managed to win a lot more. But we can focus on this and clearly
tell you this is very important.
Right.
These secular parties, they are expecting the Muslims to come and vote for them. Right. And in order to say suggesting that we are a secular force, we do not agree with Hindutva and so on. So in places where Muslims are a larger number, what's happening is that a force like the AMAM, which is in a way a mirror image of the BJP in the Muslim side, they have managed to do well.
Right.
Because I believe these parties have taken the Muslim vote for granted.
Right.
Yeah. By taking them for granted and not addressing their specificities, they are allowing a party like the AMM to come and be a spoiler.
Right.
The cynical view is that the AMM is having cahoots alliance and so on. I don't believe those things.
Right.
The AMM is a party that is limited to Hyderabad. It was not a pan-India party. But now, because of its still, pro-Muslim, rhetoric, it has managed to tap into sentiments of voters who believe that their voice is merely used as a vote bank and not for addressing their concerns.
They have come and canvassed for the votes and they have got it.
Yes, absolutely. And that's something that the so-called secular parties, it's a lesson for them that they should not take this vote for granted and address their livelihood concerns and not just, use them as a dedicated vote that will accrue to them no matter what.
Right. Let's move on to the next one, which is women. Which actually is the crux of this election, right? Because we saw that the turnout of women was historical high in Bihar, and it was 70%, 71.6% this time. Men's vote share also increased, but not so much, right? But this is a huge, and we wanted to check whether in the seats where the share of women voters is high, not the electors, not the turnout, but the share of women voters in the total voters is high, whether there is any pattern where we can see whether because we know that the JDU has been moving with a lot of policies and a lot of schemes, and so we want to see, and there are two tables which we'll be seeing. The second table is even more telling, but we start with the first table. It shows, for example, this row shows the share of women voters 53 to 55% in the voter. right? And in 51 to 52%, which is both these rows are more than men. Yeah, more than. This is the row where both the men and women voters are equal, and here men are outnumbering women and voters. So if you can see the highest, I mean, this is the vote share of NDA for these segments, and this is the vote share of MGB for these segments. And when we minus the NDA's vote share from MGB's vote share, clearly one thing stands out, which is that they got the highest number of, the difference is the highest when it comes to the 51 to 52%. So there is one hint.
Combine these two.
Right, yes,
above 50%.
Right.
Then you notice that the average goes to around 12%.
Right.
So a margin that is around 7 to 8 to 9% goes up to 12 to 13%.
Right.
Places where women turnout is higher.
Women turnout, yeah.
Other women
Share of women voters is much higher.
Much.
Yes.
So clearly, women voters have a backbone for the NDA.
And some of the schemes have really worked, right? Some of the which you have been.
Mukhyamantri Mahila Rozgar Yojana, where 10,000 rupees was disbursed to women, just before the elections, and actually when the campaign was also on, that actually played a huge difference. And we haven't really, I think.
In fact, let's go to the next table, which is more telling, which is party-wise split of the same.
More telling table.
Right, yeah, the 50 to 55% women voters. And as you can see, the vote share of JDU is 23.9% in those seats, which is the highest across any type of. So clearly, women, wherever the women voted in large numbers, come and favor the JDU.
This is the Nitish Kumar.
Right.
Nitish Kumar's legacy is one of trying to cultivate a strong voter base among women by empowering women with several schemes. This is not the first time he's doing it. He's also,
in fact, 2024 we saw a similar effect, no?
Yes, similar effect. And he has also been someone who has made prohibition possible in
Right.
It's a contested legacy, but getting girls to school, giving them cycles, this has been a legacy of Nitish Kumar over time, and slowly and steadily he has really built a woman vote base for himself, the Jivika scheme and so on.
It's interesting you're saying it's Nitish Kumar effect, because when you actually see the BJP,
it is not,
you don't see this sudden rise, variation when it comes to the higher women voter seats. So clearly this is more of a thing of a JDU than BJP, right?
Also look at this
argument. Yes. And that is
the more
the women voters, the less the, in fact they score the least vote share percentage where the women voters are the highest, right? That clearly tells the story of this election.
Yeah, absolutely. So women have been the backbone of Nitish Kumar's victory.
Right.
And I mean, now you can't call it Nitish Kumar's victory. It is a single largest party.
Right.
But that said, the women voters, the way they have exercised their franchise on their feet, they suggest that the JDU strategy of targeting them specifically has played them dividends. Again, this is not unique to Bihar. We saw that in Maharashtra, we saw it in Madhya Pradesh, and to an extent we saw that in Tamil Nadu also, with the promises made to women, and how this current government in Tamil Nadu is also trying to reach out to women. So, by and large, political parties have now realized that women are a key category. And it's a positive. It's a positive
thing that is happening in the recent elections, right? Yeah.
Hopefully, it will not be limited only to caste dispersal or caste schemes, but you'll see more women-related issues coming to the forefront. That should happen later. But at least for the time being, it's very clear that the JDU's push on women has given it a good dividend.
If you give them importance, they will give you importance in the elections.
Yes, that is true. At the same time, it's not as if this scheme absolves them of all the problems in Bihar. Women have been indebted. There's a microfinance issue. A lot of women we have done reports on that. A lot of women have been indebted. They actually protested last year.
Right.
But at the same time, the fixing an amount of rupees 10,000 for the needs is a huge amount of money, which has helped in the state which is relatively poor. And that has actually helped women to come and vote for the JDU in particular. And we are seeing that the impact of that here.
Right. I think that's all we have. I think we have come to the conclusion of the live coverage. Thank you so much for watching the video. For more such videos, subscribe to the video.
Thank you.